welcome back everyone to this IBP release video. Today we're talking about the 2505 release, so the release in May. And again, we have picked out a couple of highlights, a couple of features that we want to guide you through today. I'm Robin from Flexo, and I have a new colleague with me today, a new person joining the release series, which is basically Shreyas. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Robin.
So I would suggest we take the people right through it.
Yes.
So again, we have selected a couple of features, a couple of highlights that we wanted to discuss today. So we have 4 of them in total, a couple of them containing a bit more information than the others. So what are we talking about today? So first of all, we will be talking about a new panel, a new component basically, which has been added to the planning UIs that give immediate insights into the forecast runs. Then I'll give the floor to you, and we will be talking about AI assisted formula generation in the Excel UI. So basically continuing off the path of AI that SAP has already taken a couple of releases ago, but continuing on that one. Then we will talk about several improvements in the Planner Workspace. So the Planner Workspace, which is basically the web interface of IBP, they keep improving it, they keep making enhancements, which makes it really, really useful and really user-friendly. And then we will round up with some changes, some introductions for inventory optimization. So basically about the budget analytics process, which have been added, and also the possibility to use time-varying service levels. So that's the agenda for today. So I'll suggest that we start right away with the first one, which is the forecast insights in the planning UIs. So what is it basically about? So it's about the fact that SAP has added a collapsible side panel in the Excel UI, or a new component, a new UI component in the Planner Workspace, which contains information on your latest forecasting runs. I already heard a couple of times from the past that business users or planners were wondering where they could find the details of the forecast. Where does my forecast come from? Which model has been selected? Well, now you have that immediate visibility into these different types of information. So you see immediately some parameter values of your latest forecast run available. You can see information on the forecast errors and also on the forecast algorithm which has been chosen. So what that really provides is, as I said already, is that immediate, straight away available, and also very concrete insights in your latest forecast runs. It might look like a minor improvement, but as I indeed said already, we have heard a couple of times from business users really that could really be a useful feature. So I think that's also a very good introduction by SAP. So what is the unique selling point, or what is the main benefit of this introduction? Well, of course, it's to boost productivity and agility in general, being able to have this information readily available on the spot. And that, of course, also enhances the usability of IBP in general, and also the efficiency, because you can get these immediate insights into your statistical forecast runs and into the details. And then maybe one of the most important ones, in the end it will save you time, because you don't have to navigate to the very complex sometimes logs. And also, of course, you don't need an IT user or a key user who has in the first place already access to these logs to gather the necessary information for you. So in overall, a feature enhancing user friendliness, enhancing efficiency, and leading to significant time savings, I would say. So let's now very briefly take a look at how you could access it, or how it might look. So suppose that you are straight away in your Excel interface, and you have a key figure for your statistical forecast, for example. You can easily right-click one of the cells and navigate to the statistical forecast details, and then it will prompt you with this kind of pop-up window or the side panel in the Excel UI, which has this necessary information. So you can see that your latest forecast run has been executed successfully. That's already a first good indication, of course, that you know that it has generated forecast. You can see the date on which the forecast has been generated. And then very useful information, you have the forecast model which has been used. And suppose that you are using a forecast model in IBP that combines some different algorithms. You then also see which forecast algorithm has been selected as the best fit one, the best suited one for your data set, basically. And indeed also then in that case, if you have different forecast algorithms with a particular forecast error which is being calculated on the spot, you also have that information readily available in the side view. So you can easily compare the different algorithms, and you can see how accurate they were. And of course then as a result, you can see which one has been selected as the best one. So to me that looks like a really interesting feature. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, indeed, I think it's a very interesting feature for the planners to fine-tune their forecast when they actually have more information on what's happening in the background.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if this is the feature already available to all the licenses?
No, this is in this case, this is specific for the demand license, so it's really enhancing on your demand planning processes and also the advanced algorithms that are available within the demand license. For now, only available within the demand license.
Okay.
Good. So then I suggest we go to the next one. I'll give you the floor. So take it away, please.
Thank you very much, Robin. Again, moving on to another interesting feature from SAP's side, which is of course the introduction of an AI-assisted formula generation in Excel UI, where now planners can easily create SAP IBP formulas by just describing the formulas into a text box. Why is it easier? Because all they have to do right now is go to a key figure or even multiple key figure for that context. You just need to right click, choose the generate formula tab, and then finally you have a text box where you can easily just describe your formula in your natural language, and the IBP generates the formula automatically. So this is a very interesting and the latest feature that SAP has introduced in the Excel add-in. Let's go through a very small demo. Here you can see that there's a small data set where now as a planner I want to see, okay, what's the, show me a row where it shows high for product group forecast greater than 50,000 and for medium for those that is between 40 and 50,000, right? So literally in this text box I will put in the same thing as I just described it to you, and automatically we have the result that we want here. So this is one of the amazing features that I find about this. Apart from this, there are multiple again high level formulas that I can use. For example, I want to calculate something across time periods. I just want to describe, say, okay, give me the delta between different periods, and I will now also mention that if the calculation does not work, then just put in an NA. And again, it gives me exactly what I want by just by me describing the feature. So this is a very interesting feature. It makes it easier for the planners to just create IBP formulas without actually having to know the technical details of the IBP formulas itself, like for example, the functions or the parameters. So it makes the user more easy.
Yeah, as I see that really gives you the option to basically talk to someone who is sitting next to you.
Literally, yes.
And without having to introduce indeed complex key figure calculation in the background, where also you need to depend on other people or configuration experts basically. So that looks really interesting. Is it already generally available, or is it still in some adoption phase?
This feature right now from SAP side is more into an introductory phase, so it's trying to work it more using early adopters. But we are hoping that soon it will be out in the scene so that we all can use this.
I assume it fits right in the AI track
Indeed,
SAP takes, and then it soon becomes generally available for the wide public. So I think it's something to look forward to if I hear from it.
Indeed, yes.
So looks really interesting. Thank you very much.
Going ahead towards you again.
Thank you. So I'll now talk about some general improvements that have been again introduced in the Planner Workspace. I think most of you will already be aware what the Planner Workspace is. For those who do not know, it's basically the web UI, the web counterpart of the Excel add-in for IBP. It's like a configurable work environment in which you as a planner can analyze your data. You can maintain key figures. You can really check your data in real time. And again, as I said, with the 2505 release, I see that there has been quite some effort really related to the Planner Workspace. So we see several features that really aim to enhance the planning experience. Again, focusing again on efficiency, on user friendliness, on time saving, for example. So let's take a look what has been introduced this time. So first of all, in order to start planning using the Planner Workspace, you need to create a workbook. You need to create variants in the past. Well, that workflow as a whole has been simplified. It's now easier to set up from scratch a workbook. So I already think that leads to some time savings and a very user-friendly way of working already. So then for the people working or for the customers working with the control tower who have custom alerts, you now have the possibility to more easily group your alerts based on different attributes. Suppose you want to group alerts based on product ID, you can already group them easily by selecting the product ID attribute. If you want to group alerts based on customer ID, you can easily group them as well. And then third and fourth here in the list is, you see, generally there are some changes and enhancements that I want to highlight related to contextual navigation, and also specifically then for planning views. And really also there are quite some interesting features that I want to take you through. But first I want to take a look at some enhancements to the contextual navigation. So contextual navigation is basically you having the possibility to easily navigate from one component to another. So what has been enhanced? Well, first of all, you can more easily or more freely decide or choose on the placement of the target component. So you have several options in navigating from the target to the from the source to the target component in where you want to place your target component, basically. Next to that, you can also, of course, influence a bit the filter behavior, basically. Suppose you already have filters in your target component, you can decide whether you want to take them as granted or if you want to merge them with the filters that you basically pass through in your navigation, basically. And then finally, which was not available for some reason yet, but there is now also a possibility to create contextual navigations for master data views. So you can navigate from master data views, for example, here on customer source, that shows you the lead time. You can navigate, for example, easily to customer source validity, where you see, okay, which customer source is valid in between specific dates. So also from master data view 1 to master data view 2, for example, you can now have contextual navigation. So already, again, some enhancement, making the feature contextual navigation as a whole more reliable, more user-friendly, and leading again to time savings. Let's now focus on the last point that I had on the initial slide, which is basically the planning views, the enhancements that have been made to the planning views. Again, here, a couple of smaller topics, but together as a whole, they make up, again, a very nice improvement. We know that the Planner workspace is newer or a bit less mature between brackets than the Excel add-in. So basically, lots of customers, lots of users had already been using the Excel add-in in the past. They have been creating templates, they have been creating favorites. So there is already an abundance of templates and favorites in some customer systems, basically. Now, when you add or when you go to add a component in the Planner workspace, suppose you want to migrate or you want to start adopting the Planner workspace as well, you have the option to import different sheets from templates and favorites that are already available in the Excel add-in, which makes for an easier migration between brackets from Excel to the Planner workspace. However, small downside is that there is no automatic sync. There is no automatic sync. When you update, for example, your template again in Excel, it's not going to automatically sync with the planning view in the Planner workspace, but that's some manual adaptation that you then need to make. Second addition for the planning views as such is the fact that you can now hide key figures from the planning view. You would say, look, why is this useful? Because if I want to hide a key figure, I can just not include it. But it's useful in the case that you want to only show totals, maybe. Because then at the lower level, at the detailed level, you don't necessarily have to show the key figures, but at your total level, they can still show up. So if that is a certain use case that might come up, then you can use this feature to tackle this one. And then lastly, it's the fact that you have now more flexible and just in general more options at all to change your key figure values around. So until now, if a key figure was editable, you go into a specific cell and you enter a manual value and the key figure is changed. Now you have the option to either select one cell at a time or even select multiple cells at once. And then again, you have different options as to how you want to alter the data or the key figure value, basically. So you see in this screen what the options are. So either you can change by a value, which basically just means that you are going to increase or decrease the value which is already there by a specific amount. For example, I want to add 100 to my demand, or I want to subtract 100 from my demand. Easily doable by using this option. You can change by a percentage, which again I think speaks for itself. You are not going to add an absolute value. No, you are going to add or subtract a percentage of the value which is already there. Third option is change to a value. So you're not going to add or subtract. No, you are just going to override the selected cells with the value that you have entered in that specific text box. So already these three very specific use cases is definitely there for that, but they are definitely useful to tackle those use cases with these three options. But then the last one which is there, which is again a very useful one in my opinion, because we have heard from customers who are struggling with this from the past as well already, is the option to use the distribute a value, where basically I describe it as you select multiple cells, you enter one global value for these cells, for these multiple cells all together, and then you have the opportunity to choose whether you want to distribute those values equally or proportionally amongst the selected cells, basically. Equal distribution, which means all the cells get the same fraction. Proportional distribution, meaning that, of course, what was already there to the ratio which was already there is going to be respected when you are going to disaggregate the values, basically. So let's take a short look how it looks. So in this case, we have a demand forecast that we use for inventory optimization, for example. We have 5 cells here across, and basically it amounts to a total of 1,000 in this case. Suppose that I want to change this global value of 1,000 and I want to change this, I can easily select these cells. So I drag from left to right, I select these cells, I right click and I choose change key figure values. It will then prompt me with that pop-up window that we saw earlier. We can navigate to the option distribute a value, and in this case I want to select the proportional option. I select the proportional option, it gives me a description of what the function basically will do, and I enter a value of 2,000 in that overall text box. Whereas initially it was 1,000, now the total across these 5 cells will amount to 2,000. And as I have selected proportionally, it shows you now in this planning view, it's going to alter the data, but it's going to respect what was already there. So the proportions between the different buckets is still respected. However, on a total level, the values have been changed. So I see really these enhancements and these changes that they have been doing to the planner workspace as again an increased effort to really enhance the planning experience that the user has with this planner workspace. Really, again, as I already said in the beginning, focusing on efficiency, easiness of working, and overall, of course, at user friendliness. So that's what I wanted to tell about planner workspace for the 25.05 release. And in my opinion, it looks very promising and it looks
yeah,
very
indeed.
nice.
Even I was thinking about the same thing, that for me, out of these, the favorite pick is where you can now import from Excel add-in with SAP making constant efforts to make Planner Workspace better. It's easier now for the users to actually migrate onto using Planner Workspace more. So it's pretty interesting what is being going on.
So that's an option that we now have with our existing customers. So let's spread the message and let's go for it. So I'll then give you the floor for the final one, round up with some improvements in inventory optimization as well.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so SAP has been making a lot of constant improvements to support the inventory planning and inventory optimization module itself. So in this receive, we now have a new key figure, which is the target service level, which can be now time varying. We know that for service level calculations and also safety stocks, they are pretty related to each other. So it's important that we have service levels that are adaptable to shifting demand patterns and seasonality and business priorities. Earlier, in the earlier versions, we have a static service levels which we could use only for a specific stocking location. But now, since we have a time varying one, planners can now adapt them according throughout the whole planning horizon. So this basically gives the planners a better control over their inventory management across the whole planning horizon. So here in this example, you can just see the difference between using a static key figure and also a time varying key figure in this one. And also the recommended safety stock now uses your time varying service levels for its calculation, which makes it more optimized.
That's what I see here, right? So you have changed the service level in that key figure over time, and then it's going to take that into account.
That is now going to be taken into consideration, which was earlier just a one single value. Now it's going to take each value that you have defined for that time period. So that's a very good way to even get your more inventory optimization done here.
All right, looks nice.
The second one, again, in support of this, to be more optimized and to have a better view over it, we have a new solution process that has been included by SAP, which is the inventory budget entitlement. So basically, the idea of this solution process is to integrate the budgetary constraints and budgetary requirements while you are doing your inventory planning process. So for this, we have a dedicated planners workspace and also an analytics page, which SAP has introduced, and planners can now use this to have a better balance between their service levels and the financial requirements. So I will quickly show you how on a higher level, how the solution process works. First, we have a small budget allocation per region or per location for a product family, which is then disintegrated into a detailed level, which allows the inventory optimization profile to actually calculate the safety stocks based on the budgets. So finally, once we have this budgeted safety stock recommendations, we can use the predicted service level feature, which was already present in the other features, and we can use this to now compare the predicted service levels with the average service levels, which gives you a very good view over what you can expect or what you want in the entire planning horizon. Of course, these are just numbers. We also would like to see some visualizations on this, which earlier, as I mentioned, there's an analytics page which is dedicated for this, where you can see how your inventory budget is allocated to different locations or different product families. This is on a high level. Moving ahead, you also have a very detailed level where you can see how your inventory budgets are in relation to your service levels, whether the right products, the right locations, are risks, are they overfunded, are they underfunded, etc. So these are some very interesting things that have come up in this release. So basically this introduction allows the planners to better balance the service levels along with the financial limitations. So your sales and operations planning becomes more a sales, inventory and operations planning, which is a very good thing.
Well, I think in general, what we have observed also the last couple of weeks and months is that indeed the inventory planning solution as a whole gets more and more attention. It's also nice to see that from SAP side we have again best practices that have been enhanced and completed, or additional content is now available to basically support our inventory planning process. So also there, I think nice improvements, nice introductions from SAP side to take into account.
Yes, for me personally, I feel nowadays the working capital is a huge talk, and it's very important for a business, and able to include such finances into your inventory planning is a huge win for the planners here.
Yeah, okay.
So that's an interesting feature.
Looks good. Okay, I think with this, I think we are at the end of the presentation. So we have talked about a couple of topics. In the end, it's quite a long video for this case. But if you want to know more about any of the topics that we have discussed, or anything about IBP or the latest release in general, do not hesitate to get in touch with us via LinkedIn, or feel free to visit our landing page where we basically group all the different releases from the past. You can get more information from there, because we basically bundle there all the releases from the past with the different highlights. So if you want more information, do not hesitate to get in touch with us. And for the rest, we would just like to thank you all for watching, and then we hope to see you in a couple of months with the next release. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.